Update on where I'm at. We just took it all off. What's going on? It's 105 degrees here in New Mexico, and I found some issues with this Baja that I'm going to fix for this week so we can hopefully drive it next week. Okay, I wanted to show you guys here. We got the valve cover off, and I had at one time found that this nut that goes on here had loosened up and was actually just sitting in the bottom of here. So I threw it back on, tightened it down, didn't think anything of it. Well, I was working on the fuel regulator, which I had to pause because I thought in my head, I wonder if that nut's loosened up. Well, it did. And being that I don't know much about Volkswagens, I didn't know this was a thing, but I guess it's more common. But we're going to be replacing, I guess, a head stud. Yeah. So I bought something that I think will work, and I'm going to show you what that is. Okay, here it is, our new head stud, and this is slightly different than a standard one. So I've found that this is common, that these pull out of the case. So this is a bigger thread, everything like that, and it actually has a self-tapping in there. So it's going to cut new threads, and I've read this could be a permanent, temporary fix. Being that I haven't built this engine or did anything to it, try to just do a patch repair, I guess, so you can keep driving it. And I think this is due for a real overhaul. I want to build a bigger engine for it, give it some more power. I think that'll be a lot more fun. So that will be coming up. But for now, we're going to be installing these. And this is your head stud. And as if we can get up in here, right there, you can see the threads of the stud because it's been pulled out. What I'm worried is that it's already been done to this, and I'm not going to get anywhere with it. So I'm worried that someone's already done and inserted one of these. So if that's the case, we're going to be moving to, I guess, drill, retap, helicoil, avoid getting metal shards in the case. I don't know. So that's our first goal. So we're going to get the head off. We're going to get that stud out and hope that it hadn't been done and that I can thread this in and we are back in business. So we're going to be pulling these out. Hopefully none of their studs loosen up. I have already pulled the rocker assembly off, setting that aside and just getting the rest of these nuts out. The nut, oh, it is loose. Good. The nut for that ripped out stud is already loose too. So we're just going to pull these off. Now stopping and think, we got to pull this exhaust. Yep. So jumping ahead, I gotta get the exhaust and the intake manifold off before we can pop it. Well, I forgot there was a lot more to it than just these bolt nuts. Okay, so you get the gist. I'm going to finish getting all these flatheads off, hopefully get this shroud off, because then we can pull the head. So we'll be back then. Update on where I'm at. We just took it all off. These bugs are so easy. It's very convenient, but we got the fan shroud off. We've got just alternator cap for the intake, everything. And it took me all 30 minutes to get this far, which is great. Because, yeah, I forgot there's bolts up here for the heads. Duh. I don't know what I was thinking, that there's only these ones that hold it on. I don't know. I forgot, honestly, because I don't know these engines that well. I've not done anything to them, or this is pretty deep. So we're going to pull this head off. We're going to inspect that stud hole, and hopefully we can salvage it. I don't forget to pull out the push rods completely. There is our head is off. It's whatever. It's not the prettiest, but it doesn't look terrible. So we're going to get this stud and hopefully it comes out, and hopefully it's not an oversized one. Okay, so this stud is already loose and it's already protruding like half an inch out from the other ones. I'm gonna just try some vice grips. Okay, so this is the stud, this bottom one. I'm hoping I can maybe just grip on it, and which it's not looking like it. So now I'm gonna have to find that stud extractor. All right, so if you've never used a stud extractor, here's this, and it's gonna just go on here, and then we're gonna tighten it down, and then we just get it over some of these threads. Then you get yourself some channel lock, or what are these? Channel lock of adjustable wrench. Got the big one right here. And then we're gonna tighten it down. Oh, shoot. Or is that loosening? That was loosening. Perfect. And you basically, you've already deemed the stud crap, so it's basically probably going to destroy your threads in there. So if you do it, you're probably not going to get your stud. You're not going to be able to reuse it. But just like that. I mean, I bet, well, we could see, oh, geez. As you could see, here's part of the case, actually all the case. There's no threads left in here. It's all gunked up with magnesium. Pick some of it out. Just because it's super curious. There's the end. These pieces are just going to break right out. So the threads on this are fine, but since it's destroyed the threads in the case, we obviously cannot thread it back in, even if I tried. This is in fact effed. And then we can go in here. We're going to see how that hole is. We'll scope it. I doubt I can kind of feel threads, but I doubt there's any threads left in there because they ripped them all out. So now you can see, if you've never done this before, this one's just thicker, bigger threads. I don't know if it's tapered, but it actually looks like it is slightly thicker. I mean, the threads on the top are the same, but here they're just larger, and you're going with, I think it's like a 10 millimeter thread, and there's that groove. So luckily this wasn't repaired before, because I would be in trouble. So we're going to get some Loctite on this. I have some stuff that's actually somewhat, says it's removable, but also holds. And an interesting, I've been trying it out, but it's orange, so it's high strength, removable. I don't ever need to remove it, but if I want to rebuild it, I don't want to put heavy duty red Loctite and never be able to get this stud back out. So we're going to use this orange stuff. I think what we're going to do is do a double nut situation. I mean, truthfully, you could probably just run it down to this shoulder here, because it's pretty thick. But yeah, you can also tell that there's a shoulder here. There's no shoulder there. So that's why this rod is definitely a thicker rod to make up for those bigger threads. And then I'm just going to be careful of threading this. We'll do a ratchet. I feel like I could have a little better control over it than a wrench. And then we're just going to start essentially tapping and threading all at the same time. I don't think I have to drill it out. It would make sense that I need to drill it out, but just because it is bigger, but it is a tapered thread. And once I get to this point, it's going to start cutting. So I think it's just some pressure. Did I already miss those? No, this is magnesium. It's so much softer. Can't get it to start. Need a little tap there. It's like almost there. I don't want to drill it. We all know I'm not a Volkswagen mechanic. We all know that. I'm terrible. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, but this is part of the fun. I could not get this to thread in. Obviously, it's bigger than the hole and it should start cutting, but the hole is not that bad. This did come out with all that case, but then if I go to thread it, let me just clean it off a little bit more. Let's see. So this is the old stud. I chased the threads real quick from the stud puller because they were a little damaged. So I got those chased, but I could put that in there and it truthfully, it threads in there quite nicely. And it's a little loose at the beginning, but once it gets back into the case, it's threaded in there. And I'm just gonna clean off all these shavings and I guess put it back together. I'm not gonna drill this hole out just to put that insert in if this is gonna hold. So we're just gonna go with that. People are gonna definitely critique me, and I know that. I don't. It's whatever. Like I said, this is trying to just get this engine to run again. I think in the future we're gonna do a cool like dual port stroke bigger engine build on this buggy. But for now, that's gonna work, and we're gonna keep it on the road. So we're just gonna reinstall the stud that came out after we cleaned it, get all of it cleaned up, torqued down, and we're gonna move to the other side because the same thing, same side stud, same corner is loose. So behind me, we got the Baja, and I left off putting that stud back in. Well, wow, no surprise. It pulled right out when we tightened down the head bolt nut. Here it is. It just pulled right out. It was a 50-50 shot if it would hold in. I know it said it had some threads in there, but it was just not enough. So it couldn't even torque it down to like the 10 or 7 foot-pounds of torque, the initial torque. They just kept pulling it. So I knew we had to sort out something else. And as you can see, I have the head back on, so this side is done. But I was able to get the new 10mm stud in there. It took some finessing. So I want to show you on the other side. I ended up having to drill the hole out, and obviously with the bit to make it slightly bigger so this would start. And once it did, it bit and dug right in, and it's held up great. It didn't budge, tightening it. It's honestly probably the tightest stud in the whole side of the engine here. So we're going to jump to the other side and get that one done. All right, so we're jumping on this other side. I'm going to get these tins pulled off, and hopefully this side goes quicker. I kind of got a better idea of what to do from that side, but the same stud on this one is pulling. I tried just tightening to see, and it just pulled right out. So we're going to get this one out. So first we gotta get the exhaust off. I didn't take much off on this side, so we got lots to do. We're going to start on that, and then I'm going to get to that stud. I feel like I get a lot of flack for this, but this is the only way I could figure out how to get it to work. So my stud, 10mm one, if you go to try to cut it in there, it just doesn't. Watch, maybe this one will. We're going to try it real quick to see if possibly I can get this side actually just started and not drill it out. So I'll actually, I don't know. Say this one felt like it was gonna just start threading itself in, and I didn't have to drill it out. But yeah, it's just way too big, so we're gonna drill it out. Got the drill bit and pulled the pit. Everything's wrapped, and we're just gonna slowly start digging into there. And actually, instead of letting the drill bit bite in, I'm pulling it back, keeping all those shavings out. I'm going to make sure that's not the bigger one that I grabbed. No, that's
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this drilled. Okay. As you saw, pulled it back out. I got most, I mean, honestly, I think all the shavings are out. I have my valve hole covered, the piston covered, so nothing was able to fall in there. And now, let's just stick this on. So I'm going to get it. So what I did with the other one, and I think it's a smart practice. Again, this isn't going to be a how-to. So don't go doing this, and then if it breaks and doesn't work for you, blame me. I am just going off of sheer luck. No, just off of kind of what I've experienced and know. So I started it. I know now that it'll start threading in, but I'm going to put the jug back on, because I don't want to cock this one way or the other and then have it all off and wonky. So if we put the jug back on, it'll help straighten it all out and should thread in nicely. I mean, you can do like a level everything, but we know none of this is quite level sitting here, so it's not as accurate. So we're going to pull off all those shavings. I'm just going to wrap that up, keep all the dirt out, and throw this jug back on, and make sure your piston rings are offset and all that fun stuff. All right. Just trying to do it by hand. I didn't want to smack it on with the hammer, but just needed a little more help. And I don't know if this is right or not, but I did find that when the piston is set back into the case, it's a lot easier because that piston is more secured than doing it with it, I guess, on the compression side or whatnot. So we're going to tap that jug back in, wipe all that out. Okay, so I feel a little more confident now going in and tightening down this stud, just because I've got some guide of the jug there. Who knows if that's accurate or not, but I do feel better about it. And also, I have no idea if this is the right way to do it, but we're going to hit it. Oh, that's the wrong size, that's why. Kind of till it seats again. Someone's got to be cringing, and I'm sorry. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. That's same length as the other studs, so we are set. And now, since I smoked it on there, I'm going to have to get it off with the impact. Of course. And I messed up and got it stuck. There we go. And that stud is now in. And that's it, I guess. Definitely easier the second time. I messed with this about a freaking 2-3 hours getting that other one in, and it was a pain. I'm going to just spray that with a little. That's it. I didn't think you had to drill them out, but you do. So that was kind of odd to, which it's advertising more or less that it just self-taps. Maybe if there's a different size, I'm not 100% on that. But drill it out with a bit and run it in with the impact, and it's not going anywhere, I hope. So we're going to get it torqued down, get it all back together, and next episode, we're going to be putting the rest on here, hopefully get the holes filled. Definitely going to be welding in a new muffler because the Super Trap is just god-awful loud, and sometimes I don't like that. But anyways, there is a probably the wrong but right way and wrong way to install one of these self-tapping studs to basically just get you by if you've ripped one out of the case and you're in a pinch like me. In the future, we'll do a full rebuild. But again, that's that. I'm going to throw back the head on, get this all cleaned up, maybe get some of the surface rust off. But you don't need to see me putting it all back together. It's mostly getting that stud in. And there you go. So again, thanks for watching. Check out our merch. We have the link below with Speed Truck Garage shirts. We do Cars and Coffee once a month here in Albuquerque. And stay tuned because we got more bug stuff coming.